Okay, welcome back, creatures of the night, for our next installment for the Phenom and Animal rivalry, the Undertaker and Batista. As you know by now, I am joined on this journey by my good friend from Twitter, Keegan Dimitrovic, at Keegan RW on Twitter. And you have in store for a turning point match here in the rivalry, as we were discussing before we hit record. Um, Through before this, we've been through No Way Out, as the tag team match imploded. We've been through WrestleMania 23, where the Undertaker reigned supreme to go 15-0 and capture the World Heavyweight Championship. We've been through Backlash and SmackDown Steel Cage, where there was both a double draw, forcing the Undertaker to retain the World Heavyweight Championship without getting that extra edge over on Batista. And I use edge in a little bit of a fun way there, because as we saw at the end of the Steel Cage, Edge cashed in and stole the title from the Undertaker and stole the opportunity from Batista. So before we get started to see the Cyber Sunday 2007 match where the Undertaker Batista collide once again over the World Heavyweight Championship, with the added inclusion of Stone Cold Steve Austin as special guest referee. How are you doing, Keegan? And how are your feelings before we get started on this match?
I'm doing great. This is a match I think I just said before off air that I did rewatch last year. When I was writing down my top 100 matches of the 2000s, and this one still holds up, but it's pretty forgotten in my opinion from the Undertaker and Batista rivalry. A lot of people remember WrestleMania 23 Backlash, the cage match on SmackDown and Hell in a Cell, but this one's kind of like, I find this one's lost in the shuffle, but to me it's probably like the third best match they had, in my opinion, I would say. So I'm pretty optimistic about it. I'm trying to remember if last year was the last time I saw it before it actually happened on pay-per-view back in 2007, because I remember as a kid watching this. So I think this might be my third or fourth time watching this match now. So yeah, it's been a while, but I'm always game to see Undertaker and Batista.
Yeah, and like you said there, I remember watching this as a kid. I remember voting for Stone Cold Steve Austin to be the special guest referee, because anytime I can get a chance to see Stone Cold Steve Austin, one of my favorite characters from the Attitude Era growing up, always took that opportunity. So I voted for Stone Cold Steve Austin because I hated JBL for the most part, because I didn't want him near another Undertaker match. And I think Austin was always a better guest referee than Mick Foley. No offense to Mick Foley. I love Mick Foley. But Austin's always fun as a referee. You never know when that stunner is going to come out. You never know what the cans of beer. I remember voting for Austin. I remember watching this match. I don't think I've rewatched it in a long ass time, to be perfectly honest. But I know it does not go the way I want it to go. And that's a little bit of something that, as we were talking off air, this is the match that is parallel to the beginning matches. As we saw, the Undertaker reign supreme at WrestleMania, dominated it, and he continues to keep the championship. Although a draw, he's still the technical winner in Backlash and on SmackDown. But here it turns the tide in the rivalry, and it's a turn that the Undertaker will not be able to reverse until he gets that pinfall, as we see in the Elimination Chamber and later on in Tables, Ladders, and Chairs in 2009. So if you know where we're going with this, you know the outcome, you know what comes after, and all the other fun matches and moments from this. But I am ready to get started if you are.
Absolutely, man.
Awesome. We are both queued up at 2 hours, 20 minutes, 10 seconds, one on Peacock, one on the WWE Network. And if you are joining along, please make sure to queue up also at 2 hours, 20 minutes, and 10 seconds. As the Undertaker's gong is about to cut off Stone Cold Steve Austin from celebrating from just stunning JBL. So in 3, 2, 1, play.
I miss Cyber Sunday. I always loved this pay-per-view as a kid because I love the interactive part of it. And I think especially now with how much social media has been impacted in wrestling, I think it would make sense to bring it back.
Yeah.
Bring that Taboo Tuesday back. I think it would just, I don't know, it would make sense.
Yeah, this they introduced Taboo Tuesday in 2004, then 2005, Cyber Sunday 07, 08, and 09. I mean 06, 07, and 08. So this was at a time where there was hardly any cell phones. There was very little social media, if any. You had MySpace, you had very infantile Facebook, if I remember correctly.
And I think Twitter, like, they literally just started, but it wasn't
Yeah, I
popular.
mean, it was like right there at the infancy. So can you imagine what they can pull off now? And what they always talk about social media now, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, all the opportunities that they can put towards a pay-per-view of this magnitude. And just, I always love the entrance stage, a giant computer screen, they can make it a giant phone or anything like that. I think to bring it back nowadays is such a good idea.
The only thing I would question, though, is if the votes are legit, because I heard rumors back in the day that not every vote was legit. Some were and some weren't.
Well,
I would want them to be legit. So, like, I don't know. For instance, now let's say you brought Cyber Sunday back and you're gonna have your main event as, like, I don't know, what's the main event of Mania gonna be this year? Reigns and Lesnar.
yeah.
So let's say you're gonna do Reigns and Lesnar round 10,000 at Cyber Sunday, and it's gonna be the final chapter. Why not have a choice between, like, Extreme Rules match, Hell in a Cell match, and, like, Texas Death Match or something, or Last Man Standing? It's like, then that way you're, one of those stipulations can end a feud. It would make sense, and then the crowd can kind of get what they want. I think that would be really cool for today's day and age,
I agree.
especially with how crazy, like, Twitter is now and stuff. Like, I think it'd be a big money grab, and I think you could probably even do a stadium for Cyber Sunday now, because just like I think so many people would want to be a part of that interactive process, that I think they'd fill a lot of seats.
I agree. And we're seeing the Undertaker make the entrance. He's just returned a month prior at Unforgiven. Undertaker, Stone Cold, the stalwarts of the Attitude Era.
Very rare first entrance too.
And he's making the entrance, even though Batista's the champion. Usually the champion enters second. Usually the Undertaker enters second to a championship match. But he
entered
enters
at WrestleMania 24 too. He entered first.
He entered first at 24.
Yeah, like, this was one of my favorite years in WWE, like, in ring wise. Just because, like, you had Undertaker and Batista, and then you brought in Edge and brought him to SmackDown to feud with both, and then you had Cena and Michaels, you had Orton and Edge doing their thing, on Raw before Edge defected to SmackDown. In ring wise, it was a very good year, but it's overlooked. I mean, it's overlooked by a lot of other factors, but in ring wise, if you look at 07 from an objective perspective, there was a lot of good matches.
Yeah, I always have fond memories of 07, 08, 09, all good, that good trilogy of years in WWE.
I was so happy to be a kid in that era, because, like, you had Undertaker, you had Batista, you had Jeff Hardy, you had CM Punk, you had Edge, you had Triple H, you had Shawn Michaels, there was just so many people that you could like. There was a variety for everybody. Like, like, the younger audience liked John Cena and Rey Mysterio, which I like both those guys too, but I was always a big Undertaker fan, big Rey Mysterio fan, big Batista fan when I was a kid, and it's like big Jeff Hardy fan, big Punk fan, big Edge fan. So it's like, back then it's like there was always somebody for someone to like. There wasn't just like one guy that was forced, like you had like 10 different guys or gals, and they, it created a fun era, because there was different feuds all the time. Every feud meant something, even if there wasn't like a title at stake. Like, for example, like Undertaker and Randy Orton never had a title in their feud, and it was still like the best feud of the year for 05. And
Yeah,
they didn't
I,
even
I
go
agree.
for any
Lots,
belts.
lots of top tier talent names, lots of talent you can get behind and just enjoy what they were doing in the ring. I was just about to
That
say,
era.
Batista getting the hometown welcome as they are in Washington, D.C. Um, but yeah, lots of all those talent you just named, Hall of Fame talent that always enjoyed their in-ring work.
And like, imagine if Austin didn't have to retire, and he still probably would have been mixing it up with these guys too. Probably would have been a triple threat here if Austin was.
And Austin, keeping up the tradition of not wearing a referee shirt when he's a special guest referee.
I think he only did it WrestleMania 23. I think that's the only time he ever wore a ref shirt, from what I remember. I think that's the only time he's ever worn a ref shirt.
God, probably. Because he didn't even
But
win one in 98 when he refereed Undertaker Kane.
I think the only time I ever saw him wear a ref shirt was the Umaga and Lashley match. The Battle of the Billionaires match, I think, was the only time.
And Batista needs this victory. I think he needs it because he never got that win over the Undertaker. So it's something that Batista, character-wise, and also, for Undertaker to put over Batista as well as just,
Undertaker had to drop one at some point.
Because a feud can only go so far if only one person's getting a victory.
And they did two non-finishes too. They did the non-finish at Backlash and the non-finish in the cage.
Yeah.
So they still protected Batista because Batista only took one pinfall loss up to this point to Taker, and that was at Mania.
And this would be spoiler, Undertaker's one pinfall loss to Batista. And of course, as we saw at Survivor Series, Edge gets involved. So it's a protection for the Undertaker. And at Armageddon, you get the Edge heads taking the Undertaker out, which allowing Edge to pin Batista.
Yeah, and you know what's funny too is Undertaker very rarely lost clean in this era. So it's like it was a very rare time for Undertaker to lose clean because from what I remember in 04 and 05, he never lost clean, from what I remember. And then he unfortunately lost clean to Khali at Judgment Day, 06. And then spoiler for those who have probably already seen this match already, but this is another clean loss too, but I'm not going to reveal what the finish is. That's up for everyone else to watch. But I think Undertaker only took from when he returned as the Dead Man, I think he only took from 04 to 2010, I think 2-3 clean losses. I can't remember him taking that many more. I think, there was this one, there was Khali at Judgment Day, and then Kozlov, I think in 09 was the other one. And then I can't remember any else post that besides maybe Kane.
Yeah, because even the Kurt Angle one at No Way Out, that was kind of a schmoz.
Yeah, it was kind of I don't know if I'd call it a clean finish. It was like a cheap finish, it wasn't really
it's a roll up that Angle holds onto the tights.
It was a protected finish, so it's I wouldn't really classify that as a clean finish. It was a protected finish, so Taker didn't look weak. So I get why they did that. But then again, they wanted to keep Kurt as the champion without Undertaker winning. So, I get why they did that finish. It was really the only finish they could have done, really. But because he lost to Kane clean, I think once in 2010, I think at Night of Champions was the one time he lost clean to Kane. And then
Hell in the Cell had Paul Bearer's interference, and so did Buried Alive.
Yeah, and bragging rights, yeah. Yeah, that's true. And then he lost clean to Kozlov, I think, right before Mania 25 on SmackDown, from what I remember. I don't know if it was before or after Mania, but it was around that time. And then he lost clean here. I don't think he lost clean in all of 08, from what I. Oh no, no.
Yeah, that's right. He punches him.
By knockout. Yeah, I don't know. You classify that as a clean finish?
Depends on your definition of it was no interference, no nothing like that.
Wasn't a pinfall finish, but I mean,
it's true.
So I don't know. I mean, because they usually don't do TKO finishes.
Yeah, and also you had that clean finish in the chamber against Triple H.
Oh yeah, with Triple H, yeah.
But then
Oh,
it's a
so
chamber, but it's also a multi-man, no holds barred, so it's like can't be that
I
clean.
don't. Yeah, I don't really count multi-man matches of having clean finishes because like there's always something going on. You know, some kind of shenanigans is going on. You know, somebody's always interfering, or there's a ref bump, or you know, it's not really ever clean. Like very rarely. I think there's only been like two triple threat matches ever, two or three that I've ever seen that have ever had a clean finish.
And
Or some
as we turn our attention back to the match, Undertaker and Batista, just as we've seen all through the rivalry,
oh,
as one person gets the head, gets ahead in the match, the other person takes control just by like that. Undertaker missing the big boot in the corner, forcing Batista to get now the leg up on Undertaker, as Undertaker was in control for a few moments there as well. It's
yeah. And you know
very
what else too I loved about this match?
It's back
Is
and
right
forth
at the beginning.
action.
Yeah.
It's back and
Yeah,
forth. Each of them taking control when the other one slips up just for a quick second.
well, like what I loved about this match is like if whoever's watching, if you notice at the beginning, Batista tried to go for the spear like he did at Mania, which he connected with, but this time Undertaker dodged it and hit him with the big boot. So he kind of learned from Russ. It was like he learned from WrestleMania, get out of the way, and then because he knew Batista was going to come out of the box quick. So that's kind of, you know, to me, that's good continuity there. That kind of they evolved their matches because every match was different. Like every match they had was so different from each other. Like none of them are similar in any way.
Yeah, and they're both learning from each other and each one. Like you said, Undertaker dodging the spear, Batista dodging the big boot because Batista knew it's coming. So they're each learning from each other. They're each making it harder and harder for each other to get that leg up, to get those big moves in.
Yeah, they know each other now because was this the fourth or fifth meeting? I can't remember. Fourth, because still Survivor Series.
Yeah, Batista stopping the old school. He knows it's coming. He stops it midway. You know, it becomes harder and harder to try and connect these moves because they know what's coming. They've been with each other for now the fourth time here.
It's funny too because like at the time a lot of people did not think these guys were gonna have good matches, and they proved everybody wrong. And I think they more than exceeded everyone's expectations in every match they had.
I know they did mine. I don't know how I felt about Undertaker Batista, as a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old. But I know looking back on it, it's definitely one of my favorite rivalries now.
Oh, it's one of my favorite rivalries of all time. As a kid, though, I was like 6 when this happened. I didn't care it. It was the two top dogs going at it, and I was like, man, I don't care. Just watch them just tear each other apart, and But like, I don't know if I was 14 back in 07, I probably would have been like, I don't know how good they're gonna mesh, But they ended up having great chemistry. I mean, every match they had was a match of the year candidate for WWE, and yeah, I mean, people still talk about people still talk about WrestleMania 23 to this day. They still talk about that match as like one of the best like world title matches in WrestleMania history.
Oh, definitely, it's an underrated match for sure.
Should have main evented. I can't believe that didn't go on last.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong, Cena and Shawn was good, but I think they got it right here because from what I remember, these last two matches they had were the main event. They had this. I think this was the main event of Cyber Sunday, and then the Hell in a Cell match at Survivor Series was the main event too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand why the Backlash match wasn't a main event because there was a non-finish, so I get that. But man, like these guys just always had pretty killer matches.
I just can't believe that Undertaker, after coming back, he gets this hard-hitting match. He gets a Hell in the Cell. He gets a triple threat match. He gets a Royal Rumble. He gets an Elimination Chamber. And then he gets WrestleMania. And then he gets Backlash. It's a full freaking big-ass schedule of big-time matches.
Oh, yeah. Demanding matches, too. And it's like,
plus
these guys had some pretty hard-hitting matches, too.
Plus, you throw in weekly SmackDown, and he may have had an appearance on Raw or two. He may have, like, especially during the Royal Rumble build-up or something. I can't remember. But
And house shows too.
crap.
Yeah, and house shows too, because I'm sure these guys. I know Batista was doing a lot of house shows back then. I don't know how many Taker was doing. I think he was doing them here and there, but I mean, like, I know Batista was doing all of them, and yeah, I mean, these guys had to be dead tired. I don't know. I'm thinking though, like, I wonder if this feud would have ended earlier though if Taker wouldn't have got hurt in May. I don't know, because like I'm thinking instead of Armageddon, they probably would have done the Batista, Taker, and Edge triple threat at SummerSlam.
Yeah,
That's what I'm.
I mean, I can see that. I can see if Undertaker wasn't injured, I can see that probably the steel cage would have been a finish. That Undertaker would have won it clean. So you would
That's
have
what I'm thinking.
you would have had Undertaker clean win at WrestleMania, non-finish at Backlash, the clean win for Undertaker in the steel cage, and then probably Batista would have taken it from him, maybe Judgment Day,
Yeah.
and you get like the rematch at SummerSlam, probably with the triple threat with Edge, because Edge probably would have cashed in on Batista, probably at Judgment Day or something.
Yeah, and they were moving Edge to SmackDown anyway in the draft. So
you probably would have had another month of Taker at the championship. Batista wins it, Edge cashes in, and then you get the triple threat at SummerSlam, and whoever they decide to go with the champion there.
I could have seen Edge cashing in the middle of their match at Judgment Day or something, like where they both like just tear each other apart and they're both laying down. And then Edge, yeah, exactly like Rollins, like Edge will just run in, spear them both, and probably pin Batista and take the title, and then that can set up the triple threat for SummerSlam.
I don't know if they thought about that before. I thought maybe, this is the infantile of Money in the Bank. So
it would have made sense for Edge though, because
I don't know if they actually thought like, oh, can you really break up a match? Like they were probably thinking, oh, you have to do it like a match.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if they were thinking, oh, could this be possible?
I mean, it shocked me in 2015 when they had Rollins cash in the middle of the match. Like I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the first time they did it. So I don't know if they even crossed their minds to do it beforehand.
I don't know. Like, I mean, it would have made sense for Edge to have done it for the gimmick, to just come in and ruin something, and ruin it for both guys. But I mean, I think I'm happy with how we got it anyway, though. Like, even though Taker did get injured, we still got two more classics out of Taker and Batista. Then we got the triple threat at Armageddon. Then we had that fantastic Undertaker and Edge feud in 2008. So, I mean, I think we won in the end because we got so many great matches and two fantastic rivalries. I just wish the rivalry with Punk would have lasted a bit longer in 2009.
Yeah.
Only regret.
We got three good matches out of it. You got the Breaking Point, you got the Hell in the Cell, and then you got the Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah, I kind of wish it would have went longer going into like Rumble season. But then I think they moved Punk to Raw though, from what I remember. I can't remember. No, they moved him to Raw afterward. That was a year later. He was doing the Straight Society stuff on SmackDown. Yeah, because in 2009 they did do the 4-Way with Batista, Ray, Punk, and Taker.
Yeah, and then meets Taker again in the Chamber in 10.
But then Taker got his revenge on Punk in WrestleMania 29 and got everything sorted out.
Austin is just being, he's just having the time of his life being a referee in this match.
I think he loved being a ref.
Yeah, because he's not the one taking these moves.
No bumps. No. I think a lot of people thought he was going to wrestle again, though.
We'll see what happens in a week.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with that. Like, I've been watching interviews and stuff where he's saying, like, oh, like, I haven't wrestled 19 years and stuff like that, and it's making me think that, it's going to, like, they're going to do a segment, and then it's going to lead to a match either the next day or later in the night. Like, that's what I'm thinking, but it's like, if he really does wrestle again at this stage, I would be shocked, but I would be happily shocked.
Oh,
Like,
Undertaker trying to pull a page out of Batista's book, going for a spear, only to Batista to cover him.
Yeah, you don't see Undertaker try for a spear too often. The only time he ever connected was with Edge in the Hell in a Cell match at SummerSlam.
He tried here. His Hell's Gate wasn't working. His choke slam wasn't working. Looks like we're going for the infamous turnbuckle last ride spot here. So
I love the last ride. I actually think it's better than a power bomb. I don't know. I just think there's more. I think there's more elevation on it. I mean, I did love the Batista bomb. But the last ride, I think, had more impact.
Both men just totally exhausted at this point.
Batista found his way to kick out.
This match has already been going on for over 15, almost 20 minutes, I think, by now.
Yeah, I think most of their matches were between the 15-20 minute mark from what I remember. Because I think the match at Mania went 15 minutes, the Backlash one went 20, the cage match went 20-something minutes. And I think this one went about 20 minutes from what I remember. Undertaker.
He's trying for the tombstone.
And Undertaker wearing purple at this time was a pretty rare occurrence. I remember around this time Taker wearing purple all that much until about 2010 when he changed up the design a little bit.
Yeah, it seems like when he debuted these colored devil faces, the color would change, from week to week, pay-per-view to pay-per-view. So
yeah, he wore red a lot.
Yeah, he gets red. You get blue at WrestleMania against Edge.
Yeah.
Silver
against Batista.
Yeah, you get blue, I think, in the chamber.
Yeah.
So he keeps the same color, I think, for WrestleMania. Going for Batista bomb here.
I don't know if I liked the tights or the biker pants more.
But it's not it. Oh, he kicks out. What does Batista have to do to put the Undertaker away here?
Can I say, though, Undertaker sold the Batista bomb perfectly all the time?
Definitely.
He always took a good bump for the Batista bomb. Here we go. Is Batista going to go for it again?
Both men have pulled off everything. The Undertaker is
number two.
The only thing Undertaker is not connected with was a tombstone.
One. Oh, Batista won clean.
But it took two Batista bombs back to back.
No tombstone in this match either, like you said.
And no tombstone. The only thing that neither man has connected with is the tombstone. Undertaker did not have a chance to pull off a tombstone in this match, so it protected the move here. Because there really wasn't anybody kicking out of it by this time. So
yeah, this is back when the tombstone was super protected.
So the move is still protected, was not pulled off in the match, and it took two Batista bombs to give Batista what he has been craving this entire rivalry, and that is a clean victory over The Undertaker.
And also, too, I think from what I recall, the tombstone was so protected when he came back as a dead man that in the 2000s, I think Edge and Shawn, from what I remember, are the only two that kicked out. That from what I remember, because Edge kicked out at Mania, except that granted it was a really freaking long sequence before he kicked out, and then Shawn kicked out at 25. I think that's how much they protected the tombstone back then. And then in the 2010s, everybody was kicking out of it. Like every other match, somebody like Brock would kick out of two of them, or Punk would kick out of one, Triple H would kick out of one. Everybody was kicking out of them.
So as the match ends here, any final thoughts?
It's such an overlooked match, especially in this series that I feel like this one never gets talked about. It's like a lost gem of a match. I guess you could say it's like a diamond that everybody kind of walks past. It was good, man. I think a lot of people overlook it because it was a B-show pay-per-view that was kind of like in the middle of a dark period for WWE. So I think that's why maybe it gets overlooked. But I mean, it was such a fun roller coaster match, and it was different from every other match that they did. Like there wasn't really a lot of outside stuff that they did in this one. Like this one was more in the ring than every other match they had. And this one was more like a pure wrestling match, between just two heavyweights rather than, guys just brawling on the outside and whatnot. So yeah, it was a different kind of match, one that Batista usually didn't do with other guys around his size, but he proved he could do it. And Taker always had great matches back then, so that was not new for him.
Yeah, Undertaker puts over Batista clean. It reminds me much like the WrestleMania match, just to have a different ending. It's just as I think it's a very good match, hard hitting. They each give each other all they have, except the tombstone, but they pull off it. They pull off it well. You can see the story progressing here more and more with them learning from each other all these past matches.
Yes, and I think this was the third best one out of the five.
Yeah, they've learned from each other. They learned to adapt. They learned where to take it. What's the weaknesses? What's the strengths that they can get off on each other? And you can see by the closing moments of Undertaker just staring a hole in Batista. It's not finished.
And then it leads to the Survivor Series.
And as we have already covered, Survivor Series 2007, the Hell in a Cell match, the return of Edge, where he screws the Undertaker to have Batista keep the title because Batista feels like he can Edge feels like he can beat Batista as champion rather than beating the Undertaker as champion. So that was his excuse to screw the Undertaker, keep Batista as the title holder. But what we will get to in Armageddon is that Teddy Long has an ace up his sleeve because Edge thinks he could take on Batista, but can he take on both Undertaker and Batista? As that is Teddy Long's ace up his sleeve because we get a triple threat match the next time we come your way, Creatures of the Night, Armageddon 2007 for the World Heavyweight Championship once again, but this time you have the added bonus of Edge being the factor against Batista and the Undertaker. So who will walk away champion at Armageddon? And I know that I have seen that one relatively recently. And I am kind of looking forward to revisiting that with you, Keegan, to see your thoughts, your processes about that match as that is our next stop.
I haven't seen that one in a while either.
So anything to plug before we sign off?
Well, you can obviously follow me on Twitter at KeeganRW, and then on Twitch it's at KeeganRW Gaming. So I had to switch it up. I don't think I could use the same tag for all of them. I think I'd get too confused. So which sounds weird, but like then I'm gonna, it's hard for me to remember all the names and stuff when I gotta log in and that. So I just added gaming to it because on Twitch I am streaming video games. I'm streaming WWE 2K22, streaming Crash Bandicoot. When my PS2 wants to work, I would stream SmackDown versus Raw 2006. So yeah, that's the stuff I would be streaming. Old school gamer, you're not going to see me playing any of the new stuff. That's out. That's not what I grew up on. I grew up on Spyro, Mega Man, all those. So you'll catch me playing that stuff, and hopefully it's entertaining, and hopefully I can provide some good commentary for you.
Awesome. So make sure to follow Keegan wherever he is available, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram at Collecting Dead Man, on Twitter at CollectUpDead, and be sure to subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your preferred podcast platform. So until next time, same Taker time, same Taker channel, Creatures of the Night, as we continue on this journey through the Animal and the Phenom's intense rivalry. They will take us through at least 2 more years. Thank you for joining me here, Creatures of the Night. And keep on rolling, baby. Until next time.